Yes people, Sabri Majid here, and in this video I want to continue sharing the process of my exhibition that's coming up. I'm going to start off with doing some prints of some of the images that I want to showcase, and I'll run through the paper and the settings I'll be using to make sure that it looks just like how it looks on the screen. Later on I'm going to take you to the exhibition space itself. I'll show you around and I'll give you my ideas and my thoughts of how I want the layout to look, and also I've got to test out some of the panels that are already existing there. So I'm going to do like a bespoke layout to suit the A1 size panels. Inshallah, that's going to work out, God willing, and if it does, then this is going to look decent. I've done a lot of testing out on Photoshop just to get an idea of how I want it to all look, so hopefully that can tie in real life, but you have to make sure you check it on location because nothing always looks exactly how the image looks. It's good to have a start with laying things out on Photoshop or sketching it out, but make sure that you test it out to see how it looks, because if the photos don't look how you want it to, you're not going to be happy at the end of the day. Before I start mentioning any brands or specifications, just want to let you know this video is not sponsored by anyone, so I'm literally sharing the stuff that I've experimented with over the time, and I've done my research, and these are the things that are best suited for my work. So getting straight into it, the most important thing for me is the paper. Make sure you get some quality photographic paper for your prints. The one I use is Hahnemühle, which are a German brand. These guys are quality. Just like the cars, German cars, all you get is quality. So it's exactly the same with photo paper. And obviously you've got quality German made cameras like the Leica. This specifically is glossy fine art paper. It says glossy, but it's more like a satin pearl, so it's not too shiny, but there is a little sheen to it which makes it pop out just a little bit more than just your typical matte paper. Now because it's fine art, it has some really interesting texture to it. Yeah, you're not really going to be able to see it. You have to see it in person, so make sure that you stay tuned and you come to the exhibition to see this detail that I'm talking about. We're going to be using today is a Canon A3 printer. This one is an IP8750 Pixma, all black. I'm going to set this up as well as put some paper in, and then we'll print one off. I've got these cotton gloves which I sometimes use to handle the paper, but because I've already washed my hands, I don't need them. I'll use them if my hands were dirty. If you have sweaty hands naturally, then you'd probably be good to use these as well so that you don't damage the paper. So I've done the first two prints of one image. I had to do it twice because the first one didn't turn out right. You can see here, the blues are wrong, they're too purple. And also, yeah, just the colours are all off because I didn't match it properly. This is the correct one. Colours are right, the blue is how I want the blue to be, and I'll tell you now how I did that. First of all, it's an A3 printer and I want to make sure I print on an A3 size, so I scale the image onto an A3 sheet of paper, which I do on Photoshop, and then I also need to put the settings right because I want to print full bleed and have no white borders around the edge of the sheet. So when it comes to printing this photo has already been formatted onto the A3. So I go to the print settings, I'm choosing A3 borderless. Now when we go, I've already set it out on an A3, so I do scale 100. Color matching, which is the most important one. The first one I printed was not the right color match, that's why the colors were off. This color info is on sRGB. Now you can actually check what your color profile is. So if you right click, this is on a Mac, so go get info. If it's on Windows, you probably just go into properties. A similar thing, you open that up and it actually shows you here the color profile. So make sure that you are using the code that is stated on the color profile. So that's good. sRGB, that works for me. Paper quality is important. So quality, you got to make sure this is right. So I'm using a glossy type paper. So glossy photo paper, and then you've got standard and high. Borderless printing, this is important. So the higher you're up on this bar, the more the photo is zoomed in to make sure it prints the edges. My experience on minimum, you start to see a white edge on around the border, but just one up, it does print all the way to the edge. So that's enough for me. I don't want to zoom in too much because I've already composed the photo. I don't want it to recompose itself by zooming in. As you can see on this image, I'm using the frame right up to the edges. So if that zoomed in and cuts off the edge of that roof, then that destroys the image. So yeah, I'll use minimum border as much as possible. Supply levels, yeah, check your supply levels before you print. You can see here I've got no grey left. I've bought some grey, fortunately, and some yellow. Yeah, maybe let's top up the grey, change the cartridge ink on the grey, and then we'll print another piece. But yeah, once your supply levels are all good and your settings are all checked, and then you just print. Before I started printing my photos, I had to make sure the printer was calibrated to the nozzles and make sure that all the colors are right, the alignment of all the nozzles are right. So that was all in check, and then I started printing. I'm actually running out of paper, so I made sure I got some more paper before we started. So because the paper is premium, it comes with a price. I'm not sure what this actually retails at, but it varies online. On Amazon, it's at £97. So if we round that to £100, and there's 25 sheets, that's £4 a sheet for all the paper. £4, crazy. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta pay for the premium if you want premium looking images. That's what we do. We're investing in ourselves here. We've got the greys and we've also got the yellow. I think I'm just gonna change the grey. That looks like it's on 0. It out. Comes all sealed. Make sure you get the genuine Canon printers. So they sell third-party ones, but my experience with, I used to have a brother printer. I used some third-party ink. It clogged it up and then it left the printer unusable. So now with this printer, I make sure I get the real stuff because I don't want to get this clogged up. This cost me some bucks and I'm not looking to buy another printer for the time being. And let's open up here. You can see it's beeping on the grey and the yellow, but I'm just going to change the grey. Push that up. Push it in, all good. So this is how the images have come out. I'm satisfied and happy with the outcome. The top one we have is, this is the bank house and the old Santander building. And on the bottom we have the Milton Keynes Theatre. These two are slightly older buildings and I've seen a proposal for the bank house and I'm a bit concerned. So that means that these may not actually survive for long. They may get demolished or redeveloped. Whilst this was built in 1999, so it just made it as 20th century architecture and I'm sure it's going to stay around for a while. I haven't got much space, so I'm going to have to do this on the floor. My idea is to get an A1 white piece of paper, just like that, and then place these A3s in the middle, like that. Voila. Something along those lines. Now the reason I've done this is because most of my images are landscape to complement the low buildings of Milton Keynes. So in order to showcase landscapes, I've had to do 2 images into one A1 portrait sheet. Soon we're going to go to the exhibition space and you're going to see that there are these A1 hanging portrait displays. So this way, if I use 2 A3 sheets on an A1 at landscape, I can slot them in perfectly. And that way I get to show 2 images in one panel. So I'm in the Central Library now in the exhibit space, and this is actually a specifically Discover Milton Keynes, so it's a specific space here in the library to showcase Milton Keynes. It's actually quite busy today, so that's why I'm talking on a low volume here, not too loud, don't want to disturb the people. The space itself is not actually that big. There's quite a lot of panels though, as you can see. I just walked through it, there's quite a few panels here. So for me, it's going to be great in terms of showcasing a lot of images, especially because I'm going to split this A1 panel into 2 different landscapes. I'm going to have a variety just to give that depth to the exhibition, but the majority of the panels are going to be A3 landscape. I'm just going to get straight into it, mount my 2 A3s onto the A1 to make with masking tape just temporarily, and just slot it into one of these panels, and you can see there's the lights here, so you can see how it looks in comparison to my Photoshop skills. We do a little walkthrough of the actual space itself. First off, you got TV screen, 55-inch, so I'll be putting up some video footage on there. Then we've got 4 A1 portrait panels here, and the light on the top. We've got a blank wall here, which I'm hoping to put one of the framed pieces. And then same again on this panel, on this wall. And then you have 6 display pieces here, quite close to each other. But again, you've got the lights, which is going to be good to display it. Here we've got some landscape strips. So my thinking here was actually to take stills from the video and then slot them in on those displays. And then you've got the 2 glass boxes, one here and then another one there. Overall, I'm actually pretty happy with that. It looks pretty good with the light. The light from the top helps. There's a bit of a loose adhesive here on the display, but I could just find some white tack to stick there when it goes live. So that's pretty much it really. It was quite straightforward. I wasn't in there for long. I tested out what I needed to test and it all looks good. I'm happy with it. I'm confident it's all going to look good on the actual exhibition showcase. I think in terms of the tip of today is to make as much planning as possible, sketch it out, Photoshop it out, and it wasn't far off how I thought it was going to turn out. So I am looking forward to the exhibition. Stay tuned as I'm going to be showing the process of me setting it all up and going to get the larger prints as well. It's proper cold out here, the sun's gone down, there's this amazing sunset happening in the background, as you can see there. Yeah, sun's gone down, it's time for market. I'm gonna go into the shopping centre, find a prayer room, and then I'm good for today. I think I'll leave it there. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, and comment below what you think of the layout of the exhibition, and stay tuned as I will continue showing the process until the actual show. So yeah, peace out.